Greetings of the day to all the participants of this online panel discussion on assuring peace and justice to cyber victims for both corporates and individuals, which is linked to the SDG number 16. And I must thank the Sustainable Development Leaders Council for inviting me for this very interesting and unique events. Unlike some of the other discussions that I keep participating in almost on a daily basis. So at the outset, all of you are aware that the recent pandemic has actually transformed our society for much greater reliance on digitalization and online aspects. And in fact, today it is tele everything. Whether it is work or education or health, governance, everything is done remotely. So correspondingly, in the reason that we are relying so much on the digital means, our threat has also increased manifold. In fact, one estimate which the NSA said in a meeting some time back was that cyber crimes had increased 5%, 500%. And even a statement that I made a few days back that one of our biggest threats today is ransomware. So while you have lots to discuss, I will take just one or two major issues that are of concern at the moment. And as I said, the first one is ransomware. And I keep saying that, 2021 is a year of ransomware compared to the year of phishing that was last year. Because last year, because of the pandemic, the clickbaiting got, very popular. But this year, they've found this ransomware as a service on the dark web, and a number of new groups like Revel, etc., have come up. So ransomware is of two types. One is that they encrypt the data that is in your device, whether it is a server or an endpoint, and then they tell you that they will give you the key after you pay the ransom. And even after you pay the ransom, there's no guarantee because there's this concept of double dipping, where they may leave a backdoor open even after you paid the ransom. And the second type of ransomware is what is called as the data extortion, where they take your data and say that we will expose it to the public, and they put a sample of it in the dark web, etc., until you pay the ransom. So there have to be ways and means to counter it, and there are some very simple methods actually that can be done besides the highly technical means. One of the simplest methods is that you keep taking a periodic backup. So unless there is a service, let's say like the railway reservation system, which is every second, every minute makes a difference, or some telecom company service. But for most of the other services, time may not be that critical. So you continuously keep taking a backup, so that if at any point of time your data is encrypted, so you can tell him, go to hell, I can go back to my last backup, etc. In addition, today there are, as I said, technical means where the segmentation is done. So whether it is network segmentation or within in the virtual machines or in the cloud, etc., so that only a portion of the data can be encrypted. And even in that, the moment the machine senses that somebody is doing this sort of encryption, immediately the processes are stopped, etc. So there are various means. In addition, there is you must practice such crisis management exercises as to what will happen if there is a ransomware attack. And finally, there has to be proactive action. The agencies like Interpol and other international agencies have to be continuously surfing the dark web and seeing how to take action against these gangs that are creating ransom. So that was one point I thought I will just highlight as to the importance of ransomware and the counter methods. Then the second is that since you're talking of individuals and corporates, the critical sector today includes the private sector, whether it is telecom, power, even health, and any sector you take is critical today. And that includes the individuals as well as the corporate sector. And unfortunately, when state-backed cyber actors carry out attacks against our critical sectors, then there is a very interesting question that arises, is whether individuals and such corporates are expected to prepare their cyber defenses to cater for state-backed attacks. And state-backed attacks, include the APT attacks, etc., which require a large amount of infrastructure. So that is a very dangerous situation. But here is where the government has to step in. And I keep saying, there has to be a lot of more PPP as far as cybersecurity is concerned. Not only PPP, there has to be a lot more international collaboration. So these two aspects are very important. The only two mantras for survival, which I keep saying in every forum, are personal hygiene and cyber hygiene to survive in today's digitalized worlds. So finally, do also, since I find in your panel some very renowned lawyers of the country on cyber laws, etc., do keep a lookout on what's happening by the major economies around the world, starting from some executive decisions which the Biden administration has taken recently, to what is happening in China, where a number of laws have come out recently regarding the data security law, which came out, I think, on the 10th of June. And then there's a cybersecurity law of 2017, a regulation on data security, the global initiative on data security, and of course the national defense law and the anti-foreign sanctions law, etc. So a lot of these aspects that are coming out from the two major economies, I would advise that people who are interested in the legal side of data protection, etc., keep seeing what is happening, because some very interesting aspects are emerging from both the US and the Chinese mainlands. So with that, let me thank the organizers for giving me this honor, and I wish the event all success. Thank you very much for having me. Jai Hind.